How is everyone doing? I hope that you guys are all doing well and enjoying your Sunday. It's such a beautiful day today. Over in this area, it's just a beautiful fall day, and I spent majority of my morning into the early afternoon in the park, just being out in nature, just walking and enjoying this weather because it's my favorite. It's my favorite time of the year. Fall is a favorite time of the year. I just love the colors, the oranges and the yellows and the reds and just all those pretty bright colors that I've always enjoyed. Not to mention, I love the scents of pumpkin spice and apple cinnamon. I even on my way home stopped at the store and picked up all these candles that are pumpkin spice and apple cinnamon. I can't wait to put them in my office and even for home. And look, I even bought pumpkin. Look at that. I bought 2 little baby pumpkins, one for my home and one for my office. I just love it. Just love it. I'm thinking if I want to put a face on it or not. I might want to paint a face on it. I'm not sure yet. But this is just the colors. They're just so bright and crisp, and the leaves falling, all the beautiful colors of the leaves. It's just my favorite. It's just my favorite season. I sound so gay, but I enjoy it so much. I do. I really enjoy my fall. But as I was walking in the park and reflecting, because a lot of times when I'm walking is when I am getting downloads and information and kind of just grounding in my energy, because I've been so busy with work and things that I've been doing on the side for growth and education, and trying to get back into my health and taking care of my body. It's so important. So I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, and this kind of weather just gets me going. So it's my motivation, to go for a walk. There's no excuse now. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's perfect, right? No. And what I kept getting is communication. This past week, the past couple of weeks, just so much with communication. And as I'm reflecting, I just kept going over and over in my head, and all the downloads that kept coming up. And I know we're in Mercury retrograde now. So being Mercury retrograde, see, I can't even talk. We're almost done with it. We're almost done with it. Although it wasn't too bad for me, but we're almost done with it. But that has to do with delay of communication, right? So people not being able to really communicate clearly. But I just think overall, it's so hard for so many people to communicate, and me as well in the past, but I'm a Gemini, so we love to communicate. Communication is very important to us Geminis. You have to be able to have a conversation with me, because I could talk forever. But I could also listen carefully too, and not talk all the time, not take over all the time. But I love communication. I just, I love to communicate. But the communication that I'm referring to is being able to communicate our emotions, right? How we're feeling about things, how we are expressing to people, to loved ones, in the last couple of weeks, what I've been getting a lot of, and again, I know it's Mercury retrograde, so communication has been a problem for a lot of people, but it's just, why do we go through life not expressing how we feel, right? If we really thought about it, what is so hard about expressing how we feel? How we feel about a person, about a situation. Why do we find it so hard to communicate? Why are so many people afraid to express, right? And, if you want to look at it in energy, limitations, programming, a lot of it can come from that. It can come from maybe we weren't allowed to express ourselves as children, and women for so long, in so many centuries and in so many civilizations, we've never really were allowed to express, right? So just imagine that this is something that we carry in our DNA and cell memory for so long. We carry it down from generation to generation. And then we never truly get to be who we are or express how we truly feel. But I'm telling you, it's so important for us to be able to express. We really should be able to communicate whatever it is that we're feeling, how we're feeling. It would help us in so many ways. Even if we express how we feel to a loved one, right? How we feel about them. Just to get it out is a release of so much energy that we're holding on to, thinking about what it is that we want to express and then never expressing it. And then years come and go, and then we regret that we never said the things that we wanted to say. Why do we put ourselves through such a prison of not expressing? Even if we do express how we feel about a person or a situation, and the other person doesn't reciprocate, that's okay. Because it really is not even about that person. It is about you being 100% truthful with yourself, allowing yourself to be real, to be authentic, to be clear. It's so important that we just go through life and years go by and we never really express what we truly want to express, what we feel in our hearts. We block our throat chakras. That's why so many people have issues with their throat chakras, because we don't express. And blocks in the throat chakra doesn't have to do with, you can be the most outgoing person, verbal, person. But the throat chakra, when we have blocks in our throat chakra, it really represents you expressing how you feel about whatever experience you may be going through, how you are feeling about whatever experience you're going through. That's what the throat chakra represents. We'll get at points where it gets so blocked and you feel like you're constantly clearing your throat and coughing and clearing your throat and coughing. That's because the truth is trying to come out. If you ever notice that maybe you're around someone and something is said and what you truly want to say you don't express, and then all of a sudden you start having these coughing fits and you start feeling like there's something stuck in your throat, and then not only that, you're holding all of that in that you didn't truly express when you needed to, and now that turns into aggravation, frustration, and we don't even know why we're frustrated. Why are we so frustrated? Every time you hold on to something and you don't allow it to be expressed or allow it to come out, it blocks itself in our mind, body, and spirit. And it starts to disrupt that natural flow of energy, because the natural flow of energy is supposed to spin, right? We're supposed to be able to express. We're supposed to be in a place of alignment. Of course, we're human, right? So we don't always get to do that. But just in these last 2 weeks, with a lot of clients and just people that I've been talking to, one of the biggest frustrations is that they can't express how they feel. But why? The only person that can stop you from expressing what you feel is yourself. And then what do? We start blaming the other person. This person doesn't get me. How come they don't call me? How come they don't text me? How come it's just in and out? And, it's sporadic. And, and because we're not expressing what we truly feel, right? And it can go both ways. Maybe the other person keeps running and not doing all of those things that you want them to do. But again, that's expectations, and we can't always have that too. We have to be prepared, to express what we need to express at the time we do. Even if the other person doesn't feel the same way. Again, as I was saying earlier, it's not about them. It's about you being truthful with yourself about how you feel. What is the worst thing that can happen if you express how you feel to someone? What's the worst thing that can happen? They don't reciprocate. They run. That happens in a lot of cases because a lot of people don't know how to receive, or how to express, for that matter. But it's so important for us to be able to do it for ourselves, because even if the other person doesn't reciprocate or doesn't feel the same way as you, you're being truthful about how you feel. What do we fear? What do we fear? What, rejection? What is that saying? Rejection is God's protection. So even after we express and it doesn't get reciprocated back, maybe you're just not supposed to be with that person. And maybe that's what it is. We don't want to be put in that position of being rejected, right? Especially if we care so much about the other person. We don't want to feel like we're going to get rejected or, the person's going to run. But that's okay, because at least you got to say what you needed to say. And even though it didn't turn out the way that you expected that it would after expressing, you just opened your heart. You just expressed your truth. And moving forward, it's going to get easier and easier to do. We just got to stop stepping in our own way. We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Because again, we hold on to all of this stuff. It gets stuck within us. We lose sleep over it. We just keep blocking ourselves from just being who we are, right? Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable is part of our evolution. It's part of our growth. We have to be able to express ourselves, and that's part of becoming authentic, right? Stepping into our authenticity, evolving by expressing the things that we need to express without fearing that we're going to get rejected or they're going to run, or whatever the case may be. Again, it's not about them or how they choose to react, because we have no control over how a person chooses to react to what you express. We have no control over that. But when we step in our power and in our authenticity and truly express what we need to express, what is going to happen is you're going to feel so much better. Serious. Even if it hurts, if you don't get it back in return from the other person, you're going to feel so much more empowered because you were able to express what you needed to express. You were allowed yourself to be vulnerable. You allowed yourself to expand your heart, and the more we expand, the more we're going to bring what it is that we want in. We're going to be on a frequency of alignment with ourselves, which then will bring in the same. So even if that other person doesn't reciprocate, doesn't express, doesn't feel the same way as you, it's okay. Because you allowed yourself to be vulnerable enough to express how you truly felt. And even if it feels like crap when you don't get it back in return, you just empowered yourself. You just stepped into your authenticity. You are being truthful. And this is what we are going through right now. This is what we're being challenged with right now. We are all going through major transformations. Some are going to feel it more than others. Than the ones who are resisting the change, who are resisting the truth. they are the ones who will probably have more of a challenging time, but that's okay because maybe they're just not ready. And then the ones who are allowing the transformation and doing the work and doing what they need to do for their growth and evolution and transformation are the ones who are going to get through it, even though it'll be difficult at the times, but are going to get through it quicker. Right? They're going to get through it quicker. We're going to get to the other side quicker because when we resist, we're just delaying. But again, everyone is at their own place. They're where they're supposed to be in the moment. And some people are ready, some people are not. But it is so important for us to be able to communicate. It is part of us becoming who we are meant to be, to aligning with ourselves, because we're allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. We're allowing ourselves to be truthful. And this whole transformation is about what? Authenticity, truth. And anything that is not of truth, especially for the people who have been doing this work to get through this rough transformation that a lot of us are going through, you should be proud of yourself. You're doing it. Look how far you've come. You're overcoming all of the challenges, and you should be proud of yourself for doing that. So now just taking it a step further. Continue doing the work that is being shown to you. What is coming up for you? Embrace it. See it for what it is. Transform it. Understand what is going on. Allow yourselves to go through it because it is coming up for a reason. Because it is time for us to shed an old version of who we were. We're no longer that person that we were, which means the way that we've done things, the way we've expressed or not expressed in the past is not going to work anymore for us. So every time that you resist or you do not get to that place of being in your truth and communicate how you truly feel, the longer it is going to get to the other side. But the energies are accelerating right now. So I really feel like a lot of us are being pushed to purge this part of us so that we can start stepping into that authenticity of who we truly are. And I'm telling you, even though it sucks, and even though you have to show some vulnerability when you express how you feel, it's going to be so worth it at the end. You're going to feel so much more empowered, connected to who you are. And it's going to feel amazing, even if the other person doesn't reciprocate. And you might just get surprised, and that other person may feel exactly the same way, and maybe they're having problems with communicating, right? So someone has to start. So this has been hard, and this is what I was reflecting on while I was walking, because it's just been coming up in so much of many of my sessions in the last 2 weeks, where people are just so frustrated. And I'm telling you, this is what happens. You're going to get frustrated when you don't speak your truth or express how you feel. It's going to turn into frustration and resentment, and you're going to go into bouts of anger and wanting to rip people's heads off and go off on everyone. Why? Because you're not being truthful with yourself. You're not allowing yourself to be truthful with how you feel or express how you truly feel. You're not communicating what you need to communicate to the other person. And what I'm getting a lot in the last couple of weeks also is with these relationships where, people are trying to get to know each other, and they get to a point in their relationships, it could be a couple of months or whatever, they get into a point in their relationships where things are starting to frustrate them because they're not getting what they want out of the relationship with the other person, because maybe they're not, again, as I said earlier, they're not responding to you, they come and go. But if you don't express to them what it is you truly want, how are they going to know? How are you going to know? Don't fear it. Tell them, this is what I want. This is what I want in a relationship moving forward. You can say simple things like, I really enjoy being with you. I enjoy your company. And I feel like, we're moving in a good direction, but there's just parts of this relationship right now where I'm getting frustrated because there is no communication about what the relationship is. This is what I'm finding with so many people. And this is when we end up being in situationships, unfulfilling situationships, right? Listen, if you're going into a relationship with, I'm just not really looking for anything in this relationship, and I have a whole line of other people that I'm seeing, and communicating with, then just be clear with that from the beginning. Don't lead people on, making them think that, there's a possibility that something could happen between them. And then you have a line of people waiting. All these people. And one thing that I realize is in the dating world, right? When there are so many options out there, and in the dating world, a lot of people aren't really looking for anything. They don't even know what the hell they want, right? Everyone is just looking for human touch. Who sings that song, Human Touch? Kem. It's Kem's song, Human Touch.